they need to give me a call on my cell phone, which is 917-681-9302, and we can have a serious conversation. You know, the issue of immigration is one of the most important of our time. And I have always said from the very, you know, this is a typical gotcha journalism type of thing where you take a paper like the Journal News, and if they really dug into my immigration policy, they would find out that I support a strong, vibrant, legal immigration policy. In fact, legal immigration policy without an I, with an L, and that I actually want to see the expansion of opportunity for immigrants to come here legally. But you know what, that wouldn't sell. So they have to make it an us versus them type argument, put it on the front page of the paper, try to take crazy quotes from other people, because they've never gotten a quote from me to this day that is anything but pro-legal immigration, but anti-illegal housing, illegal hiring. But they sell papers. That's their bottom line. You know, politicians don't care about the next generation, they care about the next election. And newspapers care about the next big headline that's going to sell their advertising space. But my position very clearly is yes. If I could wave a magic wand tomorrow, secure the borders, not just the U.S.-Mexico border, but all of our borders, secure our ports and our soft underbelly. And once you've done that, once you know in a post-9/11 environment who's coming across your borders, open up a pathway to citizenship to the people who are here, but say learn the language, pass a U.S. citizenship test, and begin paying taxes. And if you break the law, and I'm not talking about a headlight out, but if you break the law in a serious way, deportation immediately. And that's a process that would make sense.
That's the part I don't understand. We're supposed to be a country of laws.
Well, we're not anymore. It's only laws for people like you and people like me.
I remember growing up, one incident. As I said, my father was a nice man. And he had
nice man or a nice man?
Both.
He was both.
He was both. And one day, a gentleman from the FBI, claimed to be an FBI agent, came over, and he showed us pictures of somebody that was an illegal alien, a stowaway from Italy. I was a young kid. I didn't know the gentleman, whoever it was, and I told him no. But at that time, I mean, they were looking for people.
Right.
And and from what I understand, this person that stowed away, at that time it took about 10, 11 days to cross the Atlantic by ship. And can you imagine the life he had,
right,
under the circumstances that he went through just to come over here? And, yes, it was illegal, but today
what's very...
And they had allotments. Every country were allotted so many immigrants.
Yeah, quotas.
Quotas.
What's very upsetting is that in America today, we have two sets of standards, and it's patently unfair to both parties. We have 6 to 7 million legal immigrants waiting in line an average of 7 years to come here legally. They spend thousands and thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars on documentation, paperwork, lost time to come here legally. An average of 7 years, okay? Meanwhile, every year, streaming across our borders, we allow 1 million illegal aliens without a criminal background check and without a medical review to stream into our country. So the legal immigrants wait in line when we should be embracing them with open arms and asking them to come here, and not forcing them to wait 7 years, expedite the process, get them into America as quickly as possible so they can begin paying taxes, and so they can begin creating jobs, and so they can begin to reharness that American dream that we're losing.
Right.
And meanwhile, the 1 million illegal aliens that are coming in, streaming into the country, go into the shadows. They live in indentured servitude. By the very definition of the way they exist in an illegal fashion, they're exploited by business interests. They lower the standard of living for union laborers, for taxpayers, and for themselves.
Right.
And it is a modern-day slave economy. And if anybody wants to call that position that I just laid out in any way anti-immigration, tell me what you're drinking, because I don't want any of it.
That's right.
Because you're not hearing the message.
But in my day, you had to have a sponsor. If
Sure.
someone wanted to immigrate to the United States, they had to have someone here that sponsored them.
Yep.
That they would provide for them.
Yeah.
That they wouldn't be a burden on the government,
Right.
on the taxpayer.
But until and that's a system that can work, just like we have a guest worker program that can work. We have all sorts of the H-1B visa process. We have a bunch of programs in the U.S. that can work, but they can only work if you secure the border and stop the hemorrhaging, and then you open up the process to make it easier for businesses and individuals to sponsor legal immigration. It's not about being anti-immigration, it's about having a little bit of common sense.
I hate to speed it up, but this half hour goes so fast.
I know.
I got a lot of issues to cover. On the MTA tax, the payroll tax is a new tax, state tax to be levied
It's horrific.
on employers and the self-employed
Yep.
individuals. Tell us something about that.
I mean, that's a perfect example where even in the super minority, I'm beginning to gain a lot of traction by using and leveraging my position and the bully pulpit. And the governor has come out because we've created such a firestorm. People should go to auditthemta.com. That's www.auditthemta.com. Print out that symbolic check, send it into my office. We've had thousands of businesses and nonprofits and individuals who are going to be forced to pay this MTA payroll tax. This tax is the final nail in the coffin. It represents cruel and unusual punishment. Seniors, veterans, nonprofits, assisted living centers. The governor just recently came out and he said, we heard your call. We're going to cut the MTA payroll tax in half. I wrote back and told the governor that's not enough. We want a full repeal, and we're asking for a forensic accounting of the MTA.
He said he was going to cut it from
34 to 0.17. Yep.
0.17. Now, but right, I wouldn't settle for that either.
No.
I mean, because and this is the problem. They come up with counter suggestions, and they say, "Okay, we'll cut it in half." And then we go, "Oh, wow, he's going to cut it in half. Great."
Right.
But no, it's not that.
No.
It's still a burden. It's still 17% more than.
We've seen not-for-profits out there having to pay $80,000 to $100,000 more for this when they're out there trying to help families that have lost their homes, kids that are in shelter homes, and they are now having to pay an extra $100,000. Where are we going to get that money
We're getting
from?
away from what America stood
That's
for.
right.
When they preach all the time, come to America. I remember in Italy growing up, and they used to tell us that in America the streets are paved with gold. And they are paved with gold, not literally.
Yeah, right.
But if you work,
yeah.
there's opportunities.
Where else can you?
The opportunities there. And that was the goal, the opportunity.
Right.
Right.
And we're losing that because of the expansion of government.
Your imagination, your incentive, whatever you have to use, you can use it there. You freely
Right.
and gain status.
Right.
That way. Whereas you didn't have that opportunity in foreign countries.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can still have that here. But what are we doing now? I mean, we're allowing an influx of immigrants to come here. Not that they shouldn't come, but because what do you do with them once they're here? What do you provide? Are there jobs for them? No.
Yeah.
I mean, they tell us that they're taking jobs away from us. That's a lot of bunk. Because big business is greedy too.
Very.
Right.
Don't forget that if they
Sending
can
jobs
do
overseas.
business,
They're
they
sending
can do
jobs
business
overseas.
where it only costs them $10. Why should they be paying $20?
Right.
Right.
So they're going to continue like this, and unless we have manufacturing back in this United States, we're going to be suffering this problem as long as we exist.
Yep.
Right.
And
we
we're on the
better do
cusp.
something fast because
We're losing it. We've lost and are losing our manufacturing base, and we're about to lose our agricultural base if we're not careful about it.
Exactly. I mean, we import most of our agriculture anyway from the foreign countries.
More and more.
Most
You're
of our
right.
fruit comes from Chile. From,
Right.
More and more.
You're right.
And these are countries, you talk about free trade, I mean, these are countries that still use pesticides that we outlawed in the 1970s. Mexico still uses raw sewage to fertilize their crops. And next time you chew down on a Mexican tomato, think about that.
It's not raised up in Pauling. It's not raised in Pauling anymore.
No.
No, we're not. Okay, Greg, I know we're running out of time.
Are
here.
we really?
Yeah.
Is Dennis
yeah.
yelling at us?
And then again, before
We'll have to come
we
back.
leave, I want to wish you guys a very
Thank you.
happy
Easter.
Nick, happy
and
Easter
Thank you
to
very
you.
much.
Thank you so much.
Celebrate those days. A very
Okay.
happy Easter.
And remember, April 11th, our
Our
pancake
Jewish
breakfast,
friends,
Passover.
A very happy Zis and Pesach to our Jewish friends. And how do you feel? John, you got anything important?
April
You got,
11th,
couple
pancake
seconds
breakfast.
left.
Come on, it's free pancake breakfast at Murphy's, April 11th. Call me, 845-279-5301, 845-279-5301.
All right, so here's your next Patrick Henry here.